What is up, my bamboo shoots? Rampanda1 here, and welcome to today's video. Now today I'm going to be talking about keeping conversations moving, keeping them flowing nicely, because it seems to be something that a lot of people I know anyway seem to have an issue with. They can't keep at least can't keep a good conversation going. And so yeah, I just thought I'd bring some tips, some tricks, some thoughts, opinions, all that good jazz, and then as usual you guys can leave in the comment section down below what you think on the subject, and if you want to give any tips and tricks of your own, that's also really appreciated. So anyway, this gameplay is by, I can't remember the YouTube channel. The YouTube channel should be down in the description if I can find it. But the gamer tag is xxswagxvort3xxx, if that means anything to anybody. So Swag Vortex. So yeah, the gameplay is by him. I'd like to thank him for supplying this gameplay. And as usual, you guys can send me gameplays. If you're gonna send me gameplays, they need to be recorded with a HD PVR or a Elgato, whatever. It has to be HD quality. And if you're on Xbox and you want me to check out a game in your file share, you can always send me a message on Xbox and I will get the gameplay that way. But obviously if you're on PS3 or PC, I cannot do that for you. But anyway, again, like I just said, today's topic is keeping a good conversation moving, keeping it flowing, and yeah, I'm just going to give some thoughts on that. So the key to a good conversation is never to have those awkward silences. You know when those awkward silences when someone says something funny or whatever, you both laugh or the group laughs, and then there's just silence. Everyone's done laughing and then nothing. You don't want to have those in the conversations. That's what kills it, especially if it's just a conversation between two people. It's much harder to keep those moving than a conversation with, say, 5 people in a little group, because obviously it's less of you, so there's less brains working, and there's ultimately there's going to be less topics thrown around, etc, etc. So yeah, like I said, the key to a good conversation is never to have an awkward silence, and the only way you're going to keep these from happening is if you have some sort of compatibility with the person you're speaking to. So whether you're on a date, whether it's a friend, you obviously want to have some sort of common interests or whatever. That way it's just a hell of a lot easier to keep this conversation flowing, as where if you were talking to, say, I don't know, your boss maybe, it wouldn't be a conversation that you want to keep going. You'd kind of want to quickly finish that by saying, oh, I gotta go do this or whatever, just because you may not have common interests and you want to move on. I know I do that a lot with my teachers. If they stop me in the corridor and it's normally not a very long conversation, but I always want to move on, and so I just say, I gotta get to lesson, or I just don't want to be here, and then I just go off. Another thing you can do to get a good 10-15 minutes out of this conversation, sometimes as long as that, maybe it'd be 2 minutes, is break the ice with something. Maybe it's a date or whatever. Compliments are always a good way to break the ice. Maybe it's just a normal friend. Just, I don't know, continue a past conversation. Talk about something in the news. Just ask about how your day was, whatever. Ask if you're doing anything tonight. That's a really big one I use a lot. Is so what have you been up to today, or what are you doing tonight, or what are you doing later, whatever. That's a big one that I always use, and it always gets a conversation going, whether they're going out that night, whether talk about lessons that day, anything like that. It's always a good way to start it off. So the main one I use is, how's your day, what are you doing later? So that's a good one if you wanna use that one. Questions are sometimes good, but don't overdo them. I'm not sure about you guys, but I definitely have these more often now. But when you're having a conversation with someone, if it turns into a question and answer session where you're constantly asking them questions or they constantly asking you questions, then that's not a very good conversation. It's like I just said, it's more of a Q&A session than a conversation, and it just become awkward after when it gets to about the third question, you know. So yeah, questions are good if you're, I don't know, replying to something they said. So if they asked you how your day's been, and then you follow up with how is your day been, then that's not a bad question. But when it turns into like, what are you doing later, or what have you done today, how was it, what else are you doing, shit like that, that's when it becomes a little bit awkward, and I'd stay away from that side of the conversation, asking a shitload of questions. Statements and nice flowing things are much better. Linking to things that they are saying. So if for example you're talking about lessons that they had that day, then talk about lessons that you had that day. If something funny happened in class, then talk about something that happened in your class, or just simply say like it wasn't that good or whatever, and it's still conversation. Even though it's a couple of seconds, it's still a bit of conversation that you can use. So always link things up: sports, classes, work, whatever it may be. Just link those things up, and you're good to go on that part. So yeah, those are most of my tips for keeping a good conversation going. So to conclude, key to a good silence is never to have those awkward silences. On your way to the date or the meetup or something, think of something that's happened, maybe something in the news, something you did that day, whatever. Break the ice with a compliment, ask about the day, ask what they're doing later. Questions, again, sometimes good, not the best if you're just pretty much interviewing them, and link things together with something they said to something you said, or vice versa. So yeah, those are my tips for keeping a good conversation going. Leave yours in the comment section below. Do you guys have any other tips you can share with everybody? Put them in the comment section. Also, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit that like button, and if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button above the video to keep up to date with all my latest content. So yeah, this is me, Padawan, and I'm out. Peace. Thank you for watching.